everybody, welcome back. It is Monday, September 4th, 2023, and you are listening to episode 170 of the Can I Say Something podcast. Your host and a recluse with a juicy caboose, Damian. Joining me today is...
Derick.
And...
Dage.
And...
Andy.
On today's show, after a brief hiatus, we are back to discuss all the delayed and winter projects, get into a little bit of what we've been watching, and then crowning a champion of the 2023 summer movie wager. Right into the show at canaysay something@gmail.com, Bicycle on Twitter, subscribe on Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Rate and review it on Apple Podcast. Tell a friend, family member, or stranger. What's up, everybody? How are we doing?
Doing well.
Good, man. How are you?
I'm
good?
Fucking tired.
Yeah, you just got back from a cruise, right?
I got back from a cruise where it was very fun, but incredibly exhausting, and I bought the drink package, so I'm going to die.
What is that? Is that just unlimited drinks? What is that?
It is unlimited drink. Well, technically they do stop you when you get to 15 drinks in a day.
All right.
Which only
I thought this was America.
That's only so you don't die.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with that.
Who cares about that? They have ways of taking care of that.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, the implication is...
That's true, sure.
Yes. Okay, so was it a theme cruise or just a regular, like, old people on a boat cruise? Was it a thing where you got dropped off?
It was just a regular people on a boat cruise. Not old people. There was a couple, but it was mostly young people.
Gotcha.
It's just, it was just, because I'm out of here in Southern California, left out of Long Beach.
Yep.
Hit a couple spots in Mexico. And, you do, and there's unlimited food as much as you want. And you can do things. I got my first ever pedicure, so I feel all fancy and whatnot.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do the petty, just the mani.
Was that your first cruise?
No, I've been on a few of them before, so I'm an old seasoned pro at this point.
You're a salt hound?
Exactly.
Salty dog? Yeah.
Sure.
We too went on a cruise this summer. It was not it was our first, but we did not opt for the drink package. We were traveling with a 6-year-old, so 15 drinks a day was out of the question.
I think they can put away some. Can she help you with that?
Maybe so. Next time.
Yes, exactly. Derick, did you leave, I felt like there was a hurricane in the middle of all that.
It happened. It hit literally the week before. I was it was coming, and it hit Southern California, and I was here when it hit. It was also Florida people need to shut the fuck up about hurricanes. That was nothing. We got real disasters in California.
Could have been something.
It wasn't. It did not do anything to anyone. It was some drops of rain. I'm just kidding. It hit right before I was supposed to go. I was kind of watching it, was this going to make things interesting? Is the boat going to sink when I'm on it? But narrowly avoided.
All right, very cool. Anybody else got any cruise-like stories? Dion, you been? I think you went somewhere, right, for a week and a half.
I went to Maine, and then I mean Myrtle Beach earlier, South Carolina, but yeah.
That's about it. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, that was fun. I can't even remember it. It sucks. Being an adult, you work all this time, and then you take a vacation, and it's fucking over before you know it, and you don't have any memories of it.
Oh my gosh, exactly.
Yeah, but next year, I'll get to do it again for a week and, live the dream and then forget about it promptly.
Did you forget about it? Yeah. Did you put pictures on that site I'm not on anymore? The Facebook?
No, I too am not on that site, so.
Oh, okay.
Can confirm his wife did, though. There's some up there.
Oh, did she? Okay, yeah. So I got it as my phone background, though, so I can always look at it and be like, I was there at one point.
Sometime in recent past, I had a good time.
Jesus Christ. There was a silver lining to this constant hellscape. Yeah, that's good to know. All right, so let's get into all the delayed stuff because I'm kind of pissed. I don't know if you guys are pissed about all the delays. Well, I mean, let me be clear. They're delayed because the film companies, we call them the AMT, PT, all those studios are greedy fucks.
SAG-AFTRA.
No. The AMPTP, is that what it's called? The movie theater. Yeah, something like that. American something production thing. Producers Anyways, Guild. No, the SAG. The SAG is actors. That's the Screen Actors Guild. And then the WGA is the Writers Guild. They are striking, and so the studios are using that. Did they ever explicitly say?
Yeah, it's the Producers Guild is the one that's the AMTP. PPP.
Oh, okay. So did they, the studios come out and explicitly say that because of the strike that they're delaying these movies? I'm not sure if I saw anything to that effect.
I mean, I don't know if it was, well, I that's why. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. If they stated that.
There was like a spokesman that came out and said, we're delaying Dune because of this, but like that's the reason,
Yes. And so... The reason they're doing this is because they're they're like, well, we need the actors to promote things. And one of the big obvious, things that they're not going to do, the actors are not going to do, and the writers are not going to do, and the directors are not going to do. Well, I don't know if the directors wouldn't do it, right? Because they're not, Directors Guild.
Yeah, the directors they're not striking. They do not stand in solidarity with the other
which
two.
sucks. Yeah. But so anyways, there are a lot of big releases that were supposed to come out this fall are not going to be released. Some of the big ones obviously is Dune 2 that was delayed until next year. Just going through the list here. Any big ones stand out to y'all? Dune 2 is obviously the big one, right? We're all looking forward to that one. Yeah, and
they're also stretching them out too, just so that they can have some content, because they're like, once we hit a certain point and we're not making any movies anymore, we're gonna need to release something. So they're kind of like delaying things so they can actually be like, once 2024 hits and we haven't shot a movie in a year, we'll have something to put out at least.
The word you're looking for is stagger.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, that was the problem. I think that was part of the problem we saw this year. Of like a lot of movies came out back to back to back to back, and I think a lot of them maybe suffered a little bit from oversaturation, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's possible. Yeah. I'm just delaying here because I pulled up the wrong article. The article's from 2022, and I was wondering, or the end of last year. So I was like, why is this not showing delayed stuff? Just give me a second here. Let me see if I can find the actual article, because I thought I copied it down. Let me see.
You'll edit this part out.
For sure.
Damian doesn't edit things out. He'll be taking a dump and leave it in.
They had an episode recently of Blank Check where they were discussing it, and they were like, "Wow, is that like a meta thing? Is that like a creative decision made by the producer?" And then they come on Twitter. He's like, "No, I fucked up. I forgot to leave it. I left in the big poop thing." But anyways, let me see. Any big ones, Dion or Andy, stand out to you? Like, damn it,
65.
Which one?
65. It's got my boy Adam Driver in it. Or is that already
came out? That
came out like a year ago.
Like 6 months ago, but yeah.
It's already on Netflix.
Okay, well, I'm looking at this list of like movies that are delayed to 2023, and it already came out. Like, what's going on?
Because I just said
what are we even talking about here?
I just said I put the wrong article in there. Yeah.
No, I did my own research, and that also
did your own research. Yes,
I guess I should be looking for movies delayed to 2024.
Facebook. Yeah, well, maybe delayed movies
like Deadpool 3. I'm bummed about
3, that. Well, I mean that's also one of those where it was delayed, and then they were shooting it without the writers. So then it's like, well, I'd rather have Ryan Reynolds be able to do improv while filming that. So I'd rather that be made under not a strike. You know what I mean? So he can actually say the lines on set that they usually they have in the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh. All right, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, true.
Either do it. What I'm trying to say is do it right or don't do it at all. Yeah. I
guarantee you they'll reference it though. What do you think, Deadpool? I mean, because they're always breaking that fourth wall, so they're going to reference it. It's going to be funny.
Yes, exactly.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let me see. Screen Rant's got one here. Sorry about this. Let's see. Poor Things was delayed, I said. It already was delayed from September to December. That was one I was looking forward to. Deadpool 3 is delayed. A live action Lilo and Stitch was delayed.
What?
A lot of Warner Brothers.
Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, a lot of Warner Brothers were delayed. Aquaman was delayed, unfortunately. That was a one I had my ticket ready for. Not really. The Zendaya-led sports romance movie Challengers was pushed from September to April of next year. Like I said, Deadpool 3. I thought wasn't there like a bunch of them were scrapped and pushed to next year? Like,
yeah, I think that there's a ton. I didn't really, because I haven't had internet in the past week, so I missed the exact list.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this list of something right here, and it's pretty much no one cares about this movie. Production of Unstoppable, starring Jennifer Lopez, has also been stopped.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No mercy in this.
Yeah, no. Okay, so yeah, a lot. The Warner Brothers slate is like Godzilla X Kong. That's a new Godzilla movie from that series that Dan watched. You watched that one, right? All of those.
What's that?
Godzilla and Godzilla X Kong. Yeah, Godzilla versus Kong. You really like those movies, so that's probably
those
one.
Are bangers, dude. Yeah,
they were. They absolutely were. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, I think, was postponed, pushed to next year.
We were all looking forward to that. I know.
I thought the one was pretty decent. Forgot what it was called. But anyways, so sorry about that. I thought I got the right article, but apparently did not. Looked everything up. So let's move on. Rep. William Friedkin, one of the biggest directors out there, I would say. You know, we're talking about like the directors that are on like Mount Rushmore of the 20th century, and they're obviously, you got Spielberg, and then you got Scorsese. Those are the two big shoe-ins. And then I think you mentioned like Ridley Scott would be on there, maybe Brian De Palma. I think if you look at like his back catalog, Friedkin's catalog, I think you can make the case that he's like a 6 or a 7 on that list, right?
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that came out of that new Hollywood in the 70s that kind of changed movies forever.
Yeah, obviously did The Exorcist. I got to see Sorcerer. That's one of the big ones. Yeah. People have been talking about on Letterboxd and Twitter about going back to his back catalog and checking out all that stuff. Did a really interesting movie that I always hear about because like one of the first movies that Michael Shannon was in called Bug, which was a movie he directed.
Oh yeah, based
on the Trishy Let's Play. Really got to check that out. I think he did a few things in the 2010s, 2000 to 2010s that I really need to catch up on. So yeah.
And then of course French Connection. We got to mention
French Connection. Yeah, of course.
The French Connection.
Of course, yeah.
Greatest films ever made.
It kind of is.
According to a lot of those lists in the top 100 buy-ins, all that.
What are you gonna say, Dion?
Interrupt. I'm reading something right now.
Go ahead.
The Boys, season 4 apparently it wrapped.
Yes.
And but post production can even grind to a halt because of the strike. That's some bullshit.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yes, sure we're gonna pay them, but it's still some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that. I know why they're pushing it just so that they can promote it, but something's in post production, and because they're not the graphic designers and CGI artists they don't have a union, so I'm not sure why that would be affected by that. I didn't know. Yeah, Derick, did you know they were scrapping like post production stuff? Post production.
I hadn't heard of that, but I mean, like Dune is pretty much done. Dune 2, I think, is pretty much done. So that would fall into that same category.
Yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, unfortunately, was looking forward to that. I have that on a list here of all the stuff I was looking forward to. The biggest anticipated stuff this year. I believe I saw Poor Things is still going to come out this year. Priscilla's still coming out. Killers of the Flower Moon still coming out. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't hear about that. I actually just put that on the list. I added it to the list at the last minute, so that sucks. Yeah, going back to Friedkin, it is a lot of his movies. I'm looking at his filmography right now, and To Live and Die in L.A. is one I've heard is really great. Blue Chips I've never seen. Killer Joe I think I still need to see. The Kane Mutiny is apparently his last movie, first movie in 12 years. So definitely want to check that out when it does finally come out.
I've heard good things about his remake of 12 Angry Men as well. I just want to say.
Did he? Oh, that was a television thing. Okay, I didn't see that down here. TV movie. Yep. Yeah, I remember watching that as a kid. I'd be like, oh, wow. It's interesting. What was I going to say? Then one of the last ones he did that I haven't seen that Bill Simmons did on the rewatchables fairly recently was Cruisin' from 1980, where Al Pacino plays a undercover cop playing a homosexual, which is interesting. A lot of that stuff back in the day, very thinly veiled homosexual overtures of like, I was just talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which has a lot of gay stuff in it. Like I think the director was gay.
Oh yeah.
I think the main character was gay, and they had like these I think the coach that was bullying the main character, they kill him by he's in like a he's in the shower and they're just like whipping him over and over again like a cat of nine tails, and Freddy's just whipping him. It's like, what the fuck? Watching that, this kid is like, I know there's something weird going on there, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Billy, I'm gonna get naked and take a shower.
Well, yes, that was doing other things than taking a shower, but yeah. Yes, very, very cool. Yeah, I gotta check out a lot of his stuff. He's one of those big directors that I'm like only seen like half of his filmography. But then Mark Margolis, this is stuff from a while ago because we haven't potted in a while. But Mark Margolis was his character in Breaking Bad, but he was in the scene where Gus Fring he blows him up. It's very cool. So yeah, rip to him as well.
Yeah, he did so much. Like he obviously had an expanded role on Better Call Saul, but he had like flashbacks. But he managed to do such little acting with just his like eyes and his like just that intense stare that he had, just being playing a character that was paralyzed in a wheelchair and just hitting a bell, like incredible.
Yes, yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, so let's get to some stuff we've been watching. I've been talking for a while, so why don't we start out with hitting the roulette here, Andy. Haven't had him in a while. Andrew, wake up.
Word? Hey,
Word.
What's going on? How you doing?
It's pretty good. Did you watch the entire third season of Ted Lasso?
I did, as a matter of fact, yes.
What did you think?
In fact, I watched a recap prior to sitting down this evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved it. It's the perfect feel-good series just of all time. No, perfect ending, tied up all the loose ends. Everybody was happy. No bullshit drama that's going to make you question whether everybody really lived happily ever after. Everybody lives happily ever after. Yep, loved it. I think I lost you.
I hear you. Damian's lost.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself, so I took a swig. Did it have a complete story? You felt like it had a complete story arc for the most of the people. You didn't feel like coming away from here like, well, what happened with the other person? What happened with this relationship? What happened with this thing? It pretty much put a bow on all those people's stories.
Yeah, I really feel like it did. I know there was some concern expressed on y'all's part how they were still introducing more problems and relationships to explore and things as the series was trying to wrap up. But I felt like they did a really good job, putting a bow on everything.
Nice.
Mine came from the fact that most of those episodes were short up until like the last four, which were ranging up to like an hour or more. So once I realized they were doing that, it's like, all right, well, that's like 4 extra episodes. So
exactly. Yeah. They went from doing like 45-minute episodes to hour and 20-minute episodes for the last several.
Not to mention they kind of shorten things up too. Like it's like, all right, we'll put Ted and Nate in the room and they'll hash it out in 5 minutes and then everything's kind of buddy. But it felt a little rushed, but like,
I agree.
They had a lot of stuff they had to tie up. So.
Yep, very cool.
I agree.
Yes, you watched a show on Netflix called Beef, which I also watched fairly recently, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it a few months ago.
It was out
in the spring, but
it was out a while ago. Yep. Stephen Yuen plays Danny.
Really
Ali Wong as Amy. I was talking to Derick about this, but it was just it's It's one of those shows where you're like, they're kind of all pieces of shit and I kind of don't care if they all fucking die because they're all kind of garbage people. But then it's sort of like, if I have to root for somebody, it's going to be Steven Yeun and not Ellie Wong or Amy and not Amy and Jordan, her boss Jordan, who's just like one of these like wealth management people. Like she's an art dealer, but also art dealers are just basically covers fronts for money laundering nowadays. It's just like you give me $10 million for this vase, and the vase is actually whatever, you know. It's such bullshit. But yeah, so I definitely was cheering for Danny throughout the thing. Did you feel like the ending was like, all right, this is kind of contrived. This is kind of like, yeah, they probably would have died, but not really because they weren't that far from civilization. What did you make of the last episode?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I enjoyed it. I tried.
That was a leading way to ask it, Damian.
It sure was.
Yes, it was.
No, I tried. I don't read more into something than the information they give. Like you gotta, as far as we know, they were in what was essentially a desert. You know, he had a broken ankle or something. Yeah, and they were debilitated. They were not going to be able to find civilization on their own. Individually. So yeah, without given the information that they provided with us, I thought it was a good ending. It definitely
thank you.
Didn't
perfect ending.
It's not how I thought the series was gonna go. I couldn't until really that last half an episode. I couldn't see how they were going to bring those two people together in any meaningful way. But
they pulled it off. I thought it was a masterful ending. I thought.
Yeah. Yes. No, I agree. Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate how over the top some parts of the scenes were. The shootout near the end there was just absurd. So many of the scenes where they're clashing together were just. These people have problems.
Oh yeah, big time problems. Yeah. You and Dion have both watched Sweettooth. Did you watch the entire thing?
I honestly don't remember if I have finished. Okay. I think I finished it because we haven't watched it. Yeah, I think I finished it.
Okay.
I have never watched Sweettooth.
Have you not?
Are you confusing it with Twisted Metal? Because I've watched that.
That's the name of the show, is Sweettooth?
Nope. No. Twisted Metal has a character named Sweettooth.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, Andy wrote down Sweettooth and Deanne wrote down Twisted Metal. Okay, so you both watched Twisted Metal, the show Twisted Metal, right?
I have not watched Twisted Metal. No, I've watched Sweettooth.
And I've watched Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
what the fuck is Sweettooth?
And I have watched Sweettooth and Twisted Metal.
And there's a character on Twisted Metal named Sweettooth. Two separate things.
So Andy, did you watch Twisted Metal?
I did not watch Twisted Metal.
What is happening now?
So I'm asking because he wrote down Sweettooth is on what he's been watching. So what's
Sweettooth is a show on Netflix following a pandemic of sorts, where instead of everybody getting sick and dying, the new offspring are like halflings. They're all like half human, half animal. And half of the society remaining that is not halflings think they are to blame for the pandemic, and they're all being hunted.
Nice.
It's kind of a cheesy, family-friendly kind of show. It's obviously pretty unique.
Yep.
And it's kind of corny, but it's fine. It's just easy TV watching in the evenings,
Yes.
We just get home, put the kid to bed and find something that we can veg out to for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so Deanne, you watched Twisted Metal.
I watched Twisted Metal.
Wait, he didn't watch Sweettooth?
I've watched Sweettooth in Twisted Metal.
Yeah. This is on Peacock, right? Or Paramount Plus?
It's on Peacock, yeah.
Peacock. Gotcha. What did you think of this?
That's fun, dude. Anthony Mackie. I didn't know if he was cut out for that role, but he's killing it so far. I haven't finished it yet, but even like Will Arnett, as Sweettooth, like Sweettooth, the character is like this menacing motherfucker, and to hear Will Arnett's voice coming out of him making all these quips, it feels ridiculous. And I don't know if you know him, but Samoa Joe, the wrestler.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. Samoa Joe is the actor, but it's Will Arnett doing the voice. Samoa Joe obviously can't act, I assume, but he's just basically there for the body. And you put a mask over his face, and you got Will Arnett's voice coming out of it. I thought that was interesting, but
it's the Darth Vader, David Prowse doing the physical, and then James Earl Jones doing the voice work kind of deal.
Right, and I bet Samoa Joe would be happy to hear you make that comparison. But it's really cool. Funny. The dialogue in it's just ridiculous. Sweettooth refers to his mother's vagina as a whisker biscuit. So,
all right.
It's just crazy stuff.
Because of the yeast. You're saying because of the yeast infection?
Well, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I didn't know that was going to go, so I immediately said no. But your guess is as good as mine. But it's cool. Right. It's like this Mad Max meets I don't know, racing, I suppose. But there's a lot of cars in Mad Max anyways. Yep. But yeah, they got to instead of everybody out to just kill each other, because that's what Twisted Metal, the video game, was based off of. Everybody was competing for one wish that would get granted by Calypso or whatever. Instead, they had to come up with all right, so Anthony Mackie's character, John Doe, has to bring supplies back and forth. He's basically a runner, and he's got to go to Chicago, but in order to get to Chicago, he has to go through Vegas, and Vegas is Sweettooth's land. So then obviously he's got to go deal with him first, or try to avoid him, but it doesn't always work out like that. And it's just fun little shenanigans if you like the game.
Yeah.
There's a mixed party too, because they're some people are oh, it's way too comical. It's not serious enough to be Twisted Metal. But I digress. The first Twisted Metal actually was a lot more comical than the later installments. So the only one that ever really got serious was Twisted Metal Black.
Yeah.
And that was it's a cult favorite, but it's not when you look back on it as a fan, a lot of people say that would be their favorite, but the majority still go with the other three as their favorite. So
yeah.
I'm impressed. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, just given the premise of what Twisted Metal is, it would be silly in and of itself to try to make anything too serious out of it.
Yeah. I guess maybe not serious, but I think they wanted more dark. They wanted more, actually just dark, because the violence is there. There's blood everywhere. They're shooting through windshields and blood splattering on the window on the other side. One, he's just Agent Stone. He's an outlaw, right? So he gets this guy, and two people are driving. It's brother and sister, and he's trying to make cleanse the world, basically. So once he gets them captured, he's here, you have a choice to make. We can brand you, and you can go off on your own, but the deal is one of you have to kill yourselves. And he takes a gun and he throws it on the ground. And he's make your choice, or otherwise we kill both of you. And then boom, one of them decides to just blow their brains out, and it's they don't shy from it at all. So the violence is there.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, cool.
I guess they're just looking for the darkness.
Yeah. You watched Sex and the City? Did you do this?
Yeah, I didn't. Listen, okay.
What is this?
Come on. So,
are you
my
a Carrie?
wife?
Are you a Samantha?
My wife. She liked Sex and the City when she was in college. And when she turned it on again, I was what the hell is this? What are you doing to me right now? And she's we got to find something to watch, because this is what I said. I was I can't watch The Office rerun, and I can't watch Friends reruns again. I'm going to jump out a window. So she decided instead to do the new season of Sex and the City. And
Just Like That, I think it's called now, right?
And Just Like That. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But so I would be sitting there in bed playing Steam Deck, but at the same time, one eye kind of drifting towards the television. So I got enough of it where, it's basically just the old shit. They all, actually, most of them come back. One of them, Samantha, she can't come back. Well, she did come back a little bit, but her and Carrie, the the two actresses in real life actually hate each other. So they had to do like this weird, like, oh, I meant to come to your party. They're on the phone and it's like, but I just couldn't make it. And the other one's like, oh, it's okay. This phone call means the world to me. Like, but it's funny because deep down they hate each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just, they updated everything. So instead of you get like all those monogamous relationships, all those basic, man-woman relationships, there had to have been like 9 or 10 relationships going on, and like 6 of them were, either lesbian, gay, non-binary, things like that. Like there was like, I don't say teenager. Well, man, I don't know. I don't actually know the ages of them. Obviously, they're portraying something younger than that, but like there was that whole thing. It's just like every kind of sexual relationship you could think of that was in this show. And I will say, are you guys gonna watch it? Can I spoil this?
You can spoil it
because I thought this was pretty funny. This was cute. At the end, like in the last episode, like they go throughout their trials and tribulations and everything, but like all the couples are just having sex, and it's just this. In the climax, they're all climaxing. It was like a neat little, but you want to talk about neat little bows? That was a neat little bow.
I see what you did there. All right, very cool. And then lastly, It's Always Sunny. You've been checking out the new season?
Oh, yeah, I love that season. This is a great season. Nice. It's just more of the same antics, except they're older, more jaded to the world. They all just look like, I don't know. They're just having fun all the time. It's crazy that after so many seasons, they're not burnt out by all this, or they don't all hate each other. I mean, 2 of them are married. Actually, no. The waitress is married to Charlie as well in real life. So, like, it's just like they all love doing what they do, and it's like they're all friends. They have a podcast, too. It's like, damn, you guys don't get sick of each other, but they keep pumping out good stuff. I don't know. You guys ever watch Always Sunny?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm like 8 seasons behind, but it's great.
Yeah, I've watched like the first 7, I want to say, sort of like with The Simpsons. It was like, I watched like the first 7 like 2 or 3 times through.
Yeah, and it's cool because now they're starting to use they're starting to do what all like shows that go on forever start to do, where they start taking the pop culture stuff or references of what's going on now, and they channel it into the show. So it's like that kind of doing that kind of thing gives them longevity. So feasibly, they could just do this forever until they get tired of it. Shows like South Park. That's what they're doing right here.
Yeah, very cool. Let's go to Derick. Haven't talked to him yet. You watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. A lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people like it. What'd you think?
Yeah, this was a great movie. I think probably the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie since the original in 1990. This one felt like it had a lot of heart. It's a really great movie about just brothers and family and growing up. And it's honestly really funny. It's really interesting. It's really creative. It does fall into the thing that I hate in superhero movies where there's like a giant sky beam that's going to go off or whatever in the end. Although this kind of plays with that in a few ways that are really funny. It sets up some things going forward for a sequel, without feeling like you're retreading any of the ground in many of the other 9 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, and because they keep rebooting it, So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. Obviously directed by Seth Rogen and his writing partner Evan Goldberg, who I'm very big fans of theirs, and a unique, cool animation style. I'm glad, like we've talked about this with Spider-Verse and a bunch of stuff before, that we're getting things that look different. This is that, computer animated movie, but it like it has like the hash marks and things. It looks like very roughly drawn. It's interesting, for sure. I don't know if it completely worked for me, but I do appreciate that they are doing different things, and I'm getting to see something visually that I would not have seen before.
Nice, very cool. Andy, you watched this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. Well, I don't want to spoil the rest of the pod, but
might be in your top 5.
I loved it. Yeah, it might be in the top 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Let's see, Derick. Let's keep going with you for a minute. Gran Turismo. Very interested to hear about this. I heard a lot lot of mixed things about it. I don't know if you saw that interview. They were talking about this in the Filmcast. The interview somebody did with the director, and he was like, "Yeah, Gran Turismo, that was cool." And he asked him a couple questions, and then a few minutes into it, he starts asking him about District 9, and he was like, the director was like, well, "Let's just talk about Gran Turismo," and then he gave some short answers to other questions, and then it just sort of petered out from there. I don't know if you've heard anything about this.
I did not, but I mean that makes sense because I feel like Neil Blomkamp, he's a guy who was kind of predicted to be the next wonderkind. Yeah. When he made District 9, he was kind of handpicked by Peter Jackson to be the next guy, and then his career kind of, I wouldn't say petered out, but there's been people didn't love Elysium, people really didn't like Chappie. Apparently he had some other horror movie too that no one even I don't even know. So and then he's been attached to a number of big projects that kind of fell through. So I feel like he's he's someone who loves District 9. He was very proud of that movie, but at a certain point he's like, I made that movie in 2009. It's time to move on and to ask me about the movie that we're here to talk about that came on 2023. So I get why he would kind of be like, yeah, okay, can we talk about this though? It's it's like they're it's like the athlete who did something something in 2003 and is doing something new now, and they're just but what about when you did this? Then it's I understand his reaction to that for sure.
Yeah. So what'd you think of Gran Turismo?
I liked it overall. I thought it was a very it's one of two video game quote unquote adaptations that came out this year that aren't actual video game adaptations. They're stories surrounding the video games. Yep. It's a lot of fun. I tend to really enjoy racing movies. I think it's a format that lends itself very well to just kind of driving, no pun intended, tension, and it's the people go up and down in the standings, and there are all these different races. Speed Races is one of my favorite movies. Rush is another favorite of mine. This doesn't quite reach those levels. I actually rewatched after watching this Ford v Ferrari because both of them end in Le Mans, the famous 24-hour race in France, 24 Hours of Le Mans. And yeah, it has some really great tension, some very, very good performances. David Harbour is great in it, as is Orlando Bloom, and the main guy whose name escapes me in the moment. He's a newcomer. He's very good. Jaimon Hansu as his father is very good. It's not a perfect movie. But as some other people have pointed out, it feels almost metaphorical for the career of Neil Blomkamp, who, as we said, had this big success early on and has kind of been, proclaimed as the next big thing and has been kind of struggling to keep up with that and to kind of make sure that people respect him. So yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. It's one of those movies I was like, I probably will try and rewatch it again at some point if I can. But as far as video game adaptations go, it's one of the best, I think.
One of the best, yeah. Yeah, just looking at his filmography, because it's not like he's made 15 things in the past 14 years. He doesn't make a movie a year. So he's made one. District 9 was in 2009, Elysium in 2013, so 4 years later. Chappie in 2015, a movie called Demonic, which I've never even heard of. You heard of
that's the one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've never even heard of it.
No one has seen it or heard of it. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's just doing a bunch of shorts. Yeah, I remember seeing District 9 in 2009. It probably still holds up. I want to rewatch it just to be for the special effects. I remember at that time, that was one of the big things people were championing about that movie was just how good it looked, So yeah, just a kind of a shame. Like you said, they were talking about him, and he was supposed to be the new J.J. Abrams because he was sort of coming up around. Not coming up, but I think he was doing Star Wars or Star Trek at that time. So having these two guys doing a lot of sci-fi stuff at the same time, I can understand the comparison point there. So yeah, unfortunately.
I got a question for Derick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with Gran Turismo, did they ham fist kind of the whole game to movie relationship? Because it's like, you think about it, Need for Speed came out. And that was just ridiculous because, if you have a game based on, a PlayStation game, it's a racing game that has no real story to it. Like if they didn't specify the gaming thing with Gran Turismo, like what's the difference between Need for Speed and Gran Turismo as a movie? You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
I get you. So I should clarify though, the story of the movie, while it is technically, like it does say, based on the game, it's based on the real life events of a player of the game becoming a real race car driver. So Gran Turismo, the game itself, is very important in the movie because the guy who plays Gran Turismo becomes a pro racer. Because he knows these tracks and has played Gran Turismo so much. So it's in the same way that, I don't know if you saw Tetris, but Tetris the movie isn't about falling blocks. It's about the people trying to get the rights to Tetris to sell in America. So it's a story about, the game Gran Turismo rather than being an straight adaptation of it. And I think it does a good job of that. Although what it is ham-fisted in is like, it is very much like product placement for Gran Turismo and Nissan and Sony, to the point where it's like, they really have to skirt around a lot of things to be like, because I had to look up when this, which Le Mans it was, and I think it was 2013. And like, there's nothing in the movie that would make it seem 2013, and it's like the same thing as Fast and the Furious, where those movies are supposed to like be prequels, but there's cars that shouldn't exist, and it's the same thing with like the game, and they like have to put the most recent version of the game in the movie, even though it's like this should not have been around in 2013. But yeah.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I thought the premise was pretty interesting, and it was a good way to get like the video game aspect into the movie, because otherwise it's just a movie where cars go fast.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
The car go fast. Yeah, cool. Let me go through some of my stuff real quick. So I saw this a while ago. Dark on Netflix finished up in 2020. It's very interesting because it's about different timelines. Obviously, I don't know if anybody knows, have heard of this or has checked this out at all. No,
I've heard it's really good, and the first 2 or 3 seasons, and the last season's really bad.
It only has 3 seasons.
Okay, then the first 2, I guess, and then I hear the last one's bad. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, but that's just the word on the grapevine.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked all seasons quite a bit. Takes place in 1954, in 87, 2020, and 2053. So they had this like ticking clock that started in 2018 when the show first started. Of like, in 2020 something's gonna happen. In June of 2020 something's gonna happen, and then it's like I can imagine like watching this middle of 2020 and be like, yeah, you got that right, buddy. Sure did. But it is very, very good. One of the best shows I've seen this year. It's doesn't qualify for best of 2023 because, like I said, it started in 2018, ended in 2020. It's German, so unfortunately, I know Andy and Dion don't like reading at all, or reading foreign languages. They prefer what's it called, dubbed things instead of subbed things, right?
That's correct.
Yes, that is correct.
No, I'm okay with subbed things.
Yeah, Dion, Damian, you're the one who doesn't like reading. That's why you listen to all your audiobooks. You won't listen. You see a piece of paper.
Fucking got me. Fucking got
listen,
guys.
Listen. The reason why I don't, it's not that I don't like reading. I feel like subtitles take away from the movie. No, it's fundamental. Yeah, for sure. But like, you're looking at people's faces, the delivery of the words. You're not looking when the subtitles are there. You're reading the words. You are missing something when you see the words, because it just draws you to them instead of the facial reactions of the actor on the screen.
Okay. So Dark, great show.
I get you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
BBC ranked it 58th in the greatest TV series of the 21st century. It's got that like, this person goes back in time, then they became this person's father, blah, 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 blah. But it sort of like, they introduce a lot of people, and like you said, it's in German. A lot of people look the same. A lot of people sound the same. But then they very much get into a groove of like, here's the most important like 4 or 5 people. Going forward in the second season, especially in the third season, they very much whittle it down to only the most important people in the show that you're paying attention to. And very good show. I think it's like 8 episodes per season, and out like not full hour, but like 45 minutes, 50 minutes per episode. But very, very good show. And then also checked out Reservation Dogs, a little bit of that. I know that the last season's coming out this year, so I wanted to catch up with that. Very good show. Highly recommend it. Sort of the opposite of Dark. It's not one long giant story. It's very much, episode of the week. Very casual, funny stuff. I think it's one of the only shows or anything that's been written, directed, and starring Native American folks. So that's always good to see. So highly recommend that. And then who here? I think a lot of us has seen Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, correct?
I mentioned it on the last time we did a top 5. I loved it, and I got to actually rewatch it on the cruise ship because they do the movies up on the big screen up on the pool deck, and I was like, oh shit, D&D, I love this movie, so I watched a good chunk of it just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I do think there's this like MCUification of action movies and adventure movies and any sort of genre thing where it's a lot of this like running, jumping. I think I haven't seen Uncharted, but I can imagine Uncharted is probably pulling in a lot of that like quippy stuff that the MCU really put forward in their movies. And I feel a little bit in this, but I think it works just because the Chris Pine is pretty good at that, at delivering those kind of lines. So yeah, very, very cool. I think there were some moments where there was like one long shot where the druid is like changing forms constantly and trying to avoid getting caught by guards and stuff like that. And I don't know. Yeah. I was talking to Dan about this, and like with the bear, they did a whole episode which was quote unquote one shot, and my brain is broken, so I look for the parts where they probably cut. And if I had to guess with this one in particular, I don't think any of this was real. I don't think they shot any of this on a sound stage.
Wait a minute. You're saying that a woman can't turn into a fly who turns into an owlbear? That wasn't real?
Erroneous. Erroneous on all counts.
Fake news.
I don't think they like normally, like with what's the movie? Ambulance. They had a couple shots like that with the drone. I think it's meant to evoke this feeling of a drone shot, but none of the scenery looks real. None of the people in the background look real. So that's my only gripe with it. I just want to say that quickly, just because it was one of those things I noticed is like, oh, it's clearly a one shot. They're doing one of those, but it didn't.
And that's what grinds my gears.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So, but no, overall, really liked it. What do you guys think? I don't know who else here has seen it. Dan, have you seen this?
Yeah, I watched it earlier this week. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was going to be better. For some reason, it was pretty hyped up in my mind, and it didn't really live up to the hype, but it was still pretty good. Yep. I enjoyed it.
Yep. Dan, have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen it. I was looking at watching it, but I ended up not watching it. Watched Little Mermaid actually instead with the family.
Oh shit! What'd you think of that?
It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's a very much like a 3-star whatever movie,
Yeah, I mean they still had some of the songs in there that are still bangers. Some of the new one I don't think landed for me, but it was cute for what it was. But yeah, honestly, it was actually I will say Melissa McCarthy in it.
Go off.
She was pretty good at that. That was a good role for her.
Yes, queen.
That was a good role.
She was great. I said on the pod when I talked about it that she is definitely one of the best parts of the movie. She was born to play that role.
Oh yeah, like she was like got her face in the bubble thing, and then she's like, "Oh," Ariel's like, "I don't need your help," and she's crying, and she's like, "All right, fine," and she starts disappearing, and she's like, "No, wait," and she pops back, "Yes," like even before she finished saying "No, wait." I don't know. It's good to have like. I mean, say comedian, but like they have that timing, and it really, I think her strengths were kind of displayed, even though she was playing someone like Ursula.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Because Ursula's not like, she's not supposed to be like funny or anything, or she she's just like, like I want this and I'm gonna get this, but like with Melissa McCarthy doing it, she was just kind of like, she had like this kind of, I'm still gonna get it, but I'm gonna be, kind of yes, like what I'm trying to say, like the witches in what's that movie called? Damn it, the Three Sisters.
Oh, Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, that's that's she gave me that vibe. That was cool. A little less comical, but still the same. It was a nice balance. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, very cool. Well, how would you rank that? I'm curious how you ranked that against, like, did you see Aladdin, the live action remake of that?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how would you rank it versus that? And there was another live action one, like Mulan. I never saw that one, but I saw Aladdin. How would you rate it against like Aladdin?
I think I like Aladdin better.
Okay. Yeah. Seems like the general consensus is that. Yep.
I wouldn't have said I like it too much better though. It's not a landslide.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any of these modern Disney live action remakes.
You don't have to. You're fine.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah. If you've seen the original in most of these cases, there's not really a reason to rewatch them, except for, I will say, the ones that David Lowery does. His Peter Pan movie this year was very good, even though people hated it. And I think it's because it was different.
Yeah. One thing I did watch just recently, like the past 24 hours, was Beau is Afraid. I believe, Andy, you watched this?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts.
I think it was interesting. I don't know. I'm sort of a person that goes into these things and I'm like, yeah, I understand it's going to be weird and crazy, but like I've seen weird and crazy shit, and for me, it wasn't crazy enough, and it didn't go far enough into the weirdness. As I feel like the what's his name, Joaquin Phoenix. It's one of these guys in that movie. The character is this guy that's just being pushed along this odyssey, and usually with stuff like that, with like, oh brother, where art thou? Or like we were just, me and Derick were talking about Big Fish recently, which is like another odyssey type movie, and I just feel like with this one, Joaquin Phoenix's character was just, he didn't have any agency. He didn't know he wasn't really looking for a goal in mind to find anything. Yeah. I mean, he's trying to find his family, but like,
it's like, I mean, like you said, he's being pushed along through this story. He's not. If it were up to him, he's afraid. He would just cower in his apartment until forever.
Yeah, it wasn't like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I watched the first quarter of that movie and was really into it. I was like, this is super interesting. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And then it just went off the rails. Like, I felt like it didn't make sense even. Yeah. It's
what's his name? Ari Aster's third movie. I very much liked his other, like Midsommar and Hereditary. But there's a movie called Synodose, New York, which I pulled up the Wikipedia for. It's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. And I think it's another one of these epic Odyssey movies, but it's this movie directed and written by Charlie Kaufman. You know him from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So it's this type of person that does a lot of these wild, heightened movies with a lot of like, what does this mean visuals to it? And so I was very much comparing Beau is Afraid to this movie. And I think Synodose, New York just has a lot more interesting ideas going on with that, with like how you make art, how art comments on itself, and a lot of that movie is him building this playhouse, and it's just in this giant warehouse, and it's just every like half an hour there's like a new version of like him making the movie. It was really, really insanely made in terms of like the narrative feeding in on itself, and I feel like they tried to do that here, and they tried to make like this weird and wacky, like I said, odyssey of him going through this like personal struggle, and it's like I don't know what the struggle is, I don't know where it's supposed to end, and very much got bogged down with him being in this house with this husband and wife taking care of him, and it was just like it wasn't wild enough for me. It didn't go far enough in the weird category, and also like, what are you trying to say? The message of the movie I felt like was very muddled.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So that was that. It was 3 hours of my life.
Yup.
Yep. How To with John Wilson. I don't know if anybody here has checked that out.
I haven't seen the new season yet, but I love the first season. Yeah. So I need to watch it.
Yeah, I was watching a couple of the first seasons. I was bouncing around between this and some video essays, but checked some of those out. Definitely looking forward to see the third season. I watched High Tension for the first time, get into the spooky dooky season, so I decided to start off with some horror. One of the big what do you call French extreme horror movies from the mid to late 2000s. This is one of the big ones that people always mention when they talk about that genre of movies. It's got a pretty big twist at the end, which I won't spoil about it, but people are not happy. I looked at the reviews after watching the movie, and people were like, that's really fucking dumb and it doesn't make any sense. So I'll be interested to know if you guys watch that in the future. Let me know what you think of that twist. And then
which one was that for?
High Tension.
Okay.
Then Derick was recommending me watch things like the History of the Sale of Mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah, I checked out some of it. I'm about halfway through it. So I've watched. I was huge into baseball in like the mid to late 90s. That's where kind of where I left off, because I was like, all right, I kind of know. One of the big reasons I went into this was the stuff I didn't know about the early days, about stuff from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So once I started getting into the 90s, the stuff that I was more familiar with those games, especially against the Yankees, I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of know a lot of this stuff. It's stuff I'm very familiar with. Watching the Yankees and the Red Sox battle each other in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, definitely we'll check the rest of that out. I know you talked about this one, and also, did you mention the one about the Disney parks, the Fast Pass?
Yes.
Thing?
Yes. Yeah. That phenomenal.
Yeah, I watched that one as well. Very good. I don't know if you guys are aware that there's like this whole genre of YouTube videos called video essays, and they're super well made. Basically, like they look like an actual movie, because they are in a lot of ways. I don't know if you guys have heard of any of these. Any interest in watching these?
Interest, sure. I have not heard of them though.
Yeah, Deanna, have you heard of these? Because I think Deanna would be interested in a lot of this stuff, because I know you watched the Winning Time, right?
Yeah, I've watched Winning Time. No, I haven't heard of these.
Yeah, it's sort of up and coming genre of storytelling that's on YouTube right now. I know that like format of putting out stuff that you're exploring dilapidated buildings has been one genre that a lot of people have found success doing on YouTube. That's a sort of a long form storytelling that they've been doing for a while, but this is also another one where people will sort of deep dive on one topic, but it's actually really well made. They get millions of views. So yeah, something for you guys to check out sometime. Let's see. What have we not talked about? Let me go into books, because I know a couple of us have gotten...
Can we take a quick break real fast?
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that, because I do have... bladder is getting bigger. So, yeah, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back. Going to be talking about some audiobooks from me. And did you listen to the audiobooks, or are you actually reading physical?
No. I listen. I'm listening. I'm driving all day for work, so I've actually made really good time on my audiobooks these past couple of weeks.
Nice. You and I go back and forth a lot of like, here's a list of like 90 things you could read, and I'm just picturing you going through them like, nope, don't have that, because you go use Libby, right?
I do, yeah. Public library. Yep. I've got access to the local public library and the college, the university library that my wife works for, and there's 1,200 audiobooks available. I should be able to find something good to read without having to pay substantial amounts of money. Should is the prominent word there. But yeah, I just do Audible. They did an interesting thing recently where for I want to say since they started, it was you pay a token, $13 for a token, and the token gets you whatever you want. If the book's 1,000 pages, it's still $13. If the book's 10 pages, it's still $13. Recently, they've been pricing them like lengthwise. So if a book's only 200 pages, you just pay $5, which is interesting. I've listened to a couple of novellas, a couple short ones this couple weeks. So I've paid, less than the price of a token, which is nice. But so anyways, yeah, that's what I do. Audible all the way. I've listened to 62 books this year. So I'm going for 100. I think I hit 95 last year. So pretty well on my way there. But the first book I want to talk about is Foe by Ian Reid. Ian Reid is an author that wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which was what the movie was based off of. I think we were just talking about him. Kaufman, not Andy Kaufman. Beau was Afraid.
not Beau was afraid. Director of Synodose. Charlie Kaufman directed I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So there's another Ian Reid book that was adapted into a pretty good movie. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
I love that movie. I'm a big Charlie Kaufman fan. The only one I haven't seen is, ironically, Synodose, New York. But I liked. I'm thinking of it. It was on my. It was a rough year, but it was on my top 10 or top 5 of 2020.
Yep. So Foe is going to be made into a movie. It's still on the slate, like we were saying before. Let me see. I know Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal are starring in it. Just look up who's directing it. Garth Davis, who directed Lion. He did some Top of the Lake episodes. So Foe is coming out later this year. So I decided to check out the book because I liked Ian Reid's last book. It was very good. It's one of those. It's actually, I don't want to spoil that, but it was based on it's very, very, very similar to a Black Mirror episode. I believe we all watched. Did we all watch the Black Mirror episode? Something of the Sea.
Oh, Beyond the Sea?
Beyond the Sea. Thank you.
That's a very good episode. It's
a good episode, and this book and the movie might be very, very, very similar. So it's very strange. I was listening to it and I was like, wait a second, this is that episode that supposedly wasn't based on anything. That's very odd, but very much enjoyed that. It was probably one of my favorite ones I've read so far the last 6 months. And then I've been getting into, I haven't been getting into, but I'm reading more of like extreme horror books, extreme gore books. One is called Dead Inside, written by Chandler Morrison. It is about a necrophiliac who's a security guard at a hospital, and he meets a cannibal, and things go sideways from there, as much as you can imagine or would want to imagine. Some of the most disgusting things I've ever read were in that book, but I knew going into it would be like that. So definitely what I was looking for with that. One of my favorite authors is Ottessa Moshfegh. I believe she is like a Polish writer, written a book called Lapvona, which was about a corrupt medieval fiefdom. Deformed 13-year-old Merrick lives with his cruel shepherd father, Jude, and was nursed from birth by the village witch. So it reminded me a lot of The Witch from 2015. Enjoyed that very much. And Eileen is also another book that I picked up because I like the author, and also it's going to be made into a movie this year. Directed by William Oldroyd, starring Thomas Mackenzie and Anne Hathaway, and our guy Shea Wiggum from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 from this year. So that'll be interesting. So that's been about what I've been reading. I did go through Frankenstein, which I don't know if anybody knows. Like, if anybody's read that book, pretty much every single adaptation of Frankenstein that has been made has been not book accurate. In the book, in the original Mary Shelley Frankenstein from 1818, it was about the Frankenstein was a just regular guy, not regular guy, but he was a reanimated corpse. But he didn't go he didn't walk around with like a bolt in his neck and a flat top. He actually was very eloquent in the way he spoke. So I'm not really sure where any of those adaptations came from. It's very strange. Yeah, so that's what I've been reading this week. Andy, you listen to some audiobooks as well, correct? You listen to Lessons in Chemistry, which is a book that's it's always on my like For You page, but it's also just in general a book that a lot of people recommend a lot. So what'd you think of it?
Yeah, same kind of thing. It's always showing up in the Libby, like always available list, and finally a friend of mine recommended it, so I just went ahead with it. But it was really good. Yeah, it's about this woman who grows up. I think she's she's a chemist in the 50s and 60s, and society ultimately pressures her into becoming something else. And it's about her life as she tries to maintain her identity as a chemist while also hosting a cooking television show in the 60s.
Oh, very cool. Nice. Let's see what you listen to the Knicks as well. curious if this is based on, or this is what they use to write the Nick. Or that's a completely different thing. Never mind. The Nick and the Knicks. Those are two different things. So what do you think of the Knicks?
This one was really good too. I'm fortunate. Everything I've listened to lately has been really, really good. But this one was a hilarious and deeply touching debut novel about a son, the mother who left him as a child, and how his search to uncover the secrets of her life leads him to reclaim his own.
Wow. Okay. Great summary.
Thanks. Yeah. No, legit though, really good. This character development was amazing. It takes you through this particular guy's childhood as well as his modern day life. He's a teacher at a college. And it tells you kind of the story about how he, I guess rediscovers his own path as he learns more about his mother, who he hasn't seen since he was, I think, 11 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool.
It's funny. It's funny. Legitimately, like, really funny. Like, laugh out loud, funny while you're listening.
Yeah. This came out in 2016. I was reading some of the summary here, and it's like, is this me? Did they write me? Samuel seeks comfort in junk food, an acerbic inner monologue, and a second lifestyle internet game called Elfscape, and generally struggles to find motivation or self-respect. Me?
Literally me.
Literally me.
Yeah, I think that's he is probably describing a lot of people.
I'm suing.
But I mean, there's other characters. That's just the main character. There's other characters in the story that are just as relatable, or if not to you specifically, to someone else Like, it was really well done. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. And then also you listen to Station 11, which if I hadn't seen the show, I'd be like, this is great. Like, this is one of the best, books ever in a long time. And I highly recommend you watching the show since you like the book. The show is very, very different than the book, but the book is still very good. What did you think of it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was, loved it.
Yeah. It's
got the TV show bookmarked. We'll get to it in the near future here, but
it's a book that's about the pandemic wipes out 99% of people in the world, and it essentially follows Kirsten, who is she's a star actress with a traveling symphony. So they go around. In the show, I'm not sure if it was in the book as well, but they basically circle around like one of the lakes near Chicago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
I think it's Lake Michigan.
Yes.
But yes, they start, I think, in Toronto, and they start traveling down, and they follow the Great Lakes. Yeah. And eventually they have to detour from their prescribed course.
Yeah.
And things kind of go off the rails from there.
Yeah. One of the big takeaways from that book I got was, I'm not sure if it's in the book or if it's in the show, but they mentioned survival is insufficient, meaning, we can put a roof over our head, we can have food on the table, but if we don't have art, if we don't have people telling stories, if we don't have music, it's kind of not worth it. Got to have more than
that. Was definitely in the book.
Okay, good.
I don't know if it was in the show as well, but yeah.
The show, not to spoil anything, or if anybody's listening, the book it has Kirsten meet Jeevan very, very quickly, and they very quickly separate in the book. In this show, this is the part where they really diverge. Is Kirsten stays with Jeevan and his brother in their apartment for the majority of the past time. The show takes place the original events take place in 15, 16, but then it goes ahead 20 years or 30 years, whatever it was. In the show, Jeevan and Kirsten stay in Jeevan's brother's apartment for a very long time, and they sort of are getting into the storytelling part of it and a lot of that kind of stuff. They have a much deeper relationship than they do in the book, which is pretty much non-existent, right?
Yeah, no, they don't really have a relationship at all. I think they meet briefly near the end.
Yeah.
no, Kirsten has, in the book, she spends the first years of the what do they call it, after the new world or something along those lines.
Yep.
She spends those first few years with her older brother before he dies, and then she just happens to find her way with the orchestra.
Yeah, it's very cool. Let's see, Dion or Derick, are you guys reading anything? Listening to any audiobooks?
Not me. I just. I was like, what was I reading at work? I was just finished not too long ago, I guess, at work. I would just read on my breaks Sidney Lumet's book about film. I don't love it as much as a lot of the other books I've read on film over the past year or so. It's kind of very old man yells at cloud. A lot of the time he's like, here's what's going on wrong with the world these days is nobody has respect for movies and I'm like, saying the same things that everyone's always says, but he's saying this in like the early 90s or something, you know, so it's just like, all right, man. I have so much respect for him as a filmmaker. Sorry, not Sid Lumet, David Mamet's book. Lumet's book is great. David Mamet's book is kind of just, it's very cranky, man, you know? But whatever. Yeah,
he's always come across as that. I've heard him in a few different interviews, especially the one he did with Mark Maron was just like, very, very, very crotchety. Him and Ben Kingsley are two guys that I've really stand out as being like just very, very, very uptighty, I guess is the way you would put that. Yeah. Andy, you put in Sleeping Giants into the reading section. You finished.
Yeah, I didn't include it at first because I hadn't finished it when I was putting these things in, but I got through it this week. Again, another really good story. The narration was excellent. This whole story is told through interviews and experiment logs, recordings of experiment logs, as this team of researchers are digging up gigantic parts of robots and trying to figure out exactly what their purpose is and how to use it. Sort of in the vein of something along the lines of I think it was Arrival, the Alien movie, where they're trying to decipher language.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say for fans of Arrival, but yeah, really, really well told, engaging story, and would recommend.
Yeah, if you like that sort of format, the Martian was very good. They had a lot of audio recordings there, and also World War Z was a fantastic version of that. The entire book, World War Z, is just interviews, and if you listen to the audiobook, they're all voiced by different actors and actresses, which is pretty cool. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Dion, you've been playing a bunch of games. I want to hear your thoughts on Baldur's Gate, one of the big releases this year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, I think this is like the best version of a video game trying to capture what D&D actually is. It is. My God, it's so random. Like, if you got like one of those nice dungeon masters, you know, like it's a whole different game, but like sometimes you don't have that nice dungeon master. There's just one that just wants to like ruin your life, and I've experienced that multiple times. It's kind of mixed. Like, I'm reading the reviews, like some people, they think that you level through it too fast. Others can't progress at all because they're just getting stomped. Dialogue, awesome dialogue, great voice acting, looks awesome, plays well on Steam Deck. I've read that, you know, later on when you get to actual Baldur's Gate, it slows down for Steam Deck. Actually, most high-end computers actually start feeling some slog, so that's something to look to. But
what are you playing as? Are you playing as a good guy?
I chose one of the main characters, a tiefling named Karsarch or something like that.
Karsarch.
Yeah. But so you can play all those characters, and I mean, you meet up with them all, and like you can use all the characters anyways, no matter which one you choose. But I guess they just kind of
what class are you?
Mine's a barbarian.
Oh, okay, tiefling barbarian. You said, or
tiefling barbarian.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, she's kind of cool because she looks like a tiefling. Basically, looks like a humanoid devil type character. She's got like a broken horn and one that does like the ram wraparound thing. But she's like on fire too. Like her chest is she's got like all these holes in her skin and everything because someone built a combustible engine inside of her. So she's incapable of like touching people without them melting.
She's basically Flame Princess from Adventure Time.
Nice. I'm familiar with that reference, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
I just see her show up on my TikTok like all the time. Like I don't see anything else, but I see her. I'm like, she is adorable. I want to play this game now.
Yeah, well, this one she's not so much adorable. She'll stomp your face. But yeah, the other one, sure. But yeah,
I didn't know you'd spent any time with D&D.
You know, that's actually the crazy part. I haven't. However, like, I don't know why I didn't. Because I used to, like, write stories and I'd have characters.
Yeah.
Like all my friends were characters in stories that I've written. Like, me and my buddy Chris, we wrote, like, we'd go spend the night at each other's houses. But, like, instead of, like, playing video games most of the time, we would be, like, joint writing books together. We had pages on pages of shit. But we never actually dabbled in D&D, which or like Magic or any of that stuff. Even though like, and even the books, because this whole like Baldur's Gate, all that stuff, Wizards of something.
Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah,
Wizards of the Place.
Wizard of the Sword Coast.
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a Disney show.
My character is Selena Gomez.
Although Waverly, I think, is a character in that world. But the point is, like, I have like every single Drizzt Do'Urden book, Dark Elf saga from R.A. Salvatore on my shelves. You know, so I'm very familiar with the world. It's crazy that I've never actually played one of the games for it before, but it's fun.
Yeah, we've got some. I've got a colleague that is big into it, and we're potentially gonna try to dive into that. I like the idea, but I'm afraid that once we actually sit down and try to play the actual role playing, like real life role playing, I feel like I'm not gonna.
You're too mature for that, bud.
Nah, it's not about maturity. It's just I just can't. I don't know. I'm not an actor. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to go well.
You get enough alcohol in you, buddy. You're quite the showman.
That's true.
Okay, that's cool. How many hours do you think you're into it?
20, 21.
20. Okay.
Yeah. And I've just now finally been able to stomp out the goblin camp that I've been trying to for a while. It's just, it's just like one of the more infuriating things, which when you tell somebody, oh my God, my character can't hit the broadside of a barn. Anyone that's ever played D&D, they just laugh at you because that's a very common occurrence. Oh, I got this great sword. Oh, I'm so strong. Oh, I missed. Like, it's just ridiculous. So, like, it'll tell me I have 80% chance. I have the advantage. I should be able to one-hit this thing. And it's like, nah, you're going to miss. And it's not even like you flip on both sides. Like, if sometimes it's a disadvantage. You got 20% chance you're going to hit. You always miss those. Yeah. But when you miss an 80% chance on an advantage, it's like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck is going on?
I haven't played like D&D games like that, but I played XCOM, which had a lot of that. Like, you're not in cover, the other person's not in cover, they have 85% chance of hitting, you just whiff, and you're like, come on.
Bullshit.
I'm save scumming that shit. Like, if it was like a 10% chance that I missed,
save scumming.
Yeah, so you got to save scum. You got to go back and re-roll some bullshit that's like 85.
I save every like 6 steps, man. I've been hurt. I have been hurt. Like, I walk into these areas and it's like, I'm fine. Boom, 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 trap. It's like, well, actually, it gives you a little a notification. It'll say survival check. And then it'll say like pass or something. But then sometimes it says failed, and you're like, oh shit. And it's kind of like the when the cartoons when you're walking into a snare trap and you hear the twig break. That's what the survival check is. It's like ding, and it's like you see red, and it's like, oh shit. And then you just jumped, or you get blown up by bombs that you didn't even see coming, and it's just it can be chaos, but it's a fun chaos.
Yeah, very cool. We have a lot more to get to, so I don't know if you guys want to move forward with the other stuff on the list.
Let's do it.
Okay. Like I said, it's a yes.
Yeah, we can go forward if that. What are you saying? Jump ahead or?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, you guys want to keep going with the pod? It's like, yeah.
Well, no, I'm fine going long, but I know you two, all you rest of yours are normies, so you want to get your beauty sleep. So I'm fine.
Yeah, man,
going.
jump to the 5. I'm ready.
Well, yeah, I got a couple things before the 5.
Okay.
Yes. So Hooptober coming up. If you're not sure what Hooptober is, so we're into September. Yeah, we're in September, so I'm calling this spooky dooky season, even though it's like 85 degrees out in most of the country. But
that's
every
cold.
year,
what are you talking about? That's cold for me.
It's very warm. I run hot, but every year I would watch at least one horror movie during September, October. That was my thing. And I always kind of perused like the Hooptober challenge. Hooptober was something invented by a guy on Letterboxd by the name of Cinemonster. Cinemonster would probably put out these challenges and you could do them or not do them and sort of follow along with him. This is the 10th year he's doing it. And so basically some of the outlines of what he says, what he wants you to do is there's going to be 31 films, obviously, one movie a day for October. But specifically, he wants you to watch 6 movies from 6 different countries, from 8 different decades, 2 post-apocalyptic movies, 1 with Robert Englund, so stuff like that. 1 LGBTQ film, 5 from De Palma, Wes Craven, Ken Russell. There's a bunch of others, but suffice to say, I made my list. It took a while. I have stuff like that. I try to watch stuff that I haven't watched before, especially with the 1 a day movie challenge. I'll put stuff on there that I haven't seen before. So some stuff that's on here that you guys probably recognize. The first Purge is a movie I haven't seen. I think I've seen some of the sequels, but I've never really been a big Purge guy.
Are you saying like the original Purge movie or the movie called The First Purge?
I have not seen the original 2013 Purge starring Ethan Hawke. Yes.
Because there is a movie just called The First Purge. It's like the 7th one or something. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Haven't seen the original, so I put that on there. I put stuff like Dead and Buried, which is a 1981 movie. And there was somebody in here that I was like, oh, that person's here. Who's in this? Oh, Robert Englund is in there, so I used that one for him. And then one's like the worst rated Dracula movie on Letterboxd that you haven't seen, and that came up as Dracula 3000 from 2004, starring Casper Van Diem. So that's going to be on my list. So just a lot of fun stuff like that, just to make it more interesting. So
Casper Van Diem, that is a name I have not heard in a minute.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing in October. I got my list here. If you guys want to follow along, you can do that. But let's get to Summer Movie Wager. We are recording this on September 2nd. Labor Day is coming up, so this is the last weekend for a big push for any movies that might change places with the other movie. So right now, as we speak, I am 1 point ahead of Derick.
It really fucking tightened up. I was just waiting for Oppenheimer to get across Little Mermaid.
Oh, this is crazy. So this is crazy for a couple of reasons. I don't know if Andy and Dion have been keeping track, but if you go through the list, do you have the list pulled up right now?
I do.
If you're looking at Andy, Dion, do you have it pulled up? So because there's a couple things, huh?
I can.
You can. Okay. So when you pull it up, some things you will notice. I think you might have to plug in my name, Damian69, in there, and Derick as well. You just go to more, and then you go into.
Here, I have it pulled up with both of us. I can drop it in the chat.
Okay.
There we go.
And then, so the first thing you guys will notice is that I forgot to include Indiana Jones and the King and the Dial of Destiny, and also nobody had Sound of Freedom. So those are my 2 big misses there. I completely whiffed. I got 0 points for both of those.
Sound of Freedom is such a horse shit.
Yeah,
it is.
That one,
they buy out tons of theaters and they give the tickets away for free. That's bullshit.
I agree. So Sound of Freedom is number 6. Indiana Jones is number 7. So I'm not missing out that much. A lot of other people only have 3 points from Indiana Jones. So the majority of my points, majority of my points, the reason I am even in contention right now, because I got 7 points from Oppenheimer. I believe Oppenheimer is, I'm not sure where it is in the actual
number
chart.
4 right now.
Is it? Because I have... Okay, it is number 4. You're right. So I have 7 points from that. Yeah. Got 5 points from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 5 points from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Derick, you have 3 points from Barbie. That's number 1. Nobody had that. Peter Soretta has Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is number 2. Derick, you're getting 5 points from that. So it's just a very tight race. Very tight race.
Well, the one thing, the movie you have that I don't, because you left off Indiana Jones, and also, I don't know if you were going to mention the other one you left off, which has also been a big help, but you left off 2 movies that were big movies that most people had included. You had
contention. That's why.
Yeah. You tried to email the guy who runs the site, like, hey, can I put this back on? He's like, no, and it worked out to your benefit, but because you left both those movies off, it left a room for you to put on Transformers, which I only had as an honorable mention. So that's you've got 5 points for Transformers. Yeah, which has just pissed me off so fucking much. I was watching Elemental, and watching Elemental almost catch it, and then just run out of gas, and I was like, "Fucking hey, man!"
God damn it! So overall, we are 900th place. I think I'm 900 in the global rankings. Let me pull
I'm
up
1,001 or something like that. I'm just barely. I'm 10,000. Yeah, I'm 1,040.
1,040. I'm 904. In the global rankings. For context, there are 3,000 people in the global rankings, so that puts us in the top third. I'm fine with top third placing, and out of 3,000 people, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. But the other movie I should mention is Fast X. You didn't include that, and then it did not come in the top 10. So,
Didn't matter. It
did matter. That's why it worked out for you. But it's like we said, it's not over. There's still Labor Day weekend close. I've been watching like a psychopath Mission Impossible slowly creep up on Indiana Jones, and if it passes it this Labor Day weekend, if it has it's only like a couple million away. If it's just gonna stop just short, and watch it'll pass it right after fucking the movie wager ends. So I mean, it's snowball's chance in hell. I'm not out yet, but if Mission Impossible can have a really good Labor Day weekend, it can cross Indy, and that'll mean that I get an extra 2 points because my Mission Impossible ranking will be only 1 away instead of 2 away. So that would put me over you by 1. But as it stands, and as it probably is going to end,
this is why I. Told Andy and Dion, do this thing. It's not what is it? What's the word I'm trying to look for?
Unpredictable.
It's unpredictable, but it's also dumb proof. You can just put anything in there and you'll probably be fine. Yeah. Idiot proof is the word I'm looking for. Idiot proof.
Yes.
So you can just do that. You'll be fine. So let's get to the best things we saw this year. Been trying to wrangle us all together for a while. Finally got us all in the same room at the same time to discuss our top 5 everything of the year. Just like with the top 10, we're going to do things a little differently than you might be used to. It's not top 5 movies, not top 5 TV shows, just top 5 things we've seen this year, including both of those things. Sometimes people throw a wrench in the whole thing. Sometimes people will put things that aren't necessarily movies, like Inside, which was my favorite thing from 2021. I had that on there. So we'll see what everyone had on here. So let me go to my list, and I'll start out just because. For context, I have I've seen 73 movies this year. Didn't put 73 things on a list. Didn't order those things. I could have. I almost did, but I didn't. I went up to 15 movies this year. We'll talk about honorable mentions later. My number 5 movie from this year is Infinity Pool. It is obviously the Brandon Cronenberg's new movie with. Let me actually pull up the whole thing here. Anybody else seen this other than me?
I have not.
You have not seen this? I thought you did. Yeah, I thought we talked about some of these scenes in here.
This is the one. Oh,
yeah. It's got where is it starring? Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, and Cleopatra Coleman. Yeah, it's essentially the movie where super rich fucks get to commit crimes, and the only thing that happens to them is that they get a clone made of them that then gets killed off, and sort of goes sideways from there. Yep. Was this ever in contention for you, Andy? For number 5?
Yeah, it absolutely was. Yeah, it was a contention for my number 5. Yeah, I didn't end up putting it in there.
All right,
but
very cool. Yeah, we'll find out what is in there. Derick, what's your number 5?
Well, let me preface this by saying that I did not. You didn't text me or let me know that we were doing a top 5. The only reason I found out is because I looked at the document this morning, which I could finally open because I finally had Wi-Fi again after being on a boat in the middle of the ocean for a while. And you also did not in the document specify anything about what you just said about a general top 5. So I did movies. That's fine. With that all in mind, and also since we did just do top 5 up till May, I'm not going to do any repeats. I'm going to do a different top 5. And in no particular order though. Number 5, I'm just going to say is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I'm a huge indie fan. I think this was the third best indie movie. Very fitting end of a chapter or end of a saga to a character that I've cared about my entire life. It's not the best indie film. It's not a perfect movie, but I think it was a great, solid action movie about legacy and life and death and all that stuff. So I loved it.
Nice. Deanne, what is your number 5?
Number 5 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Mutant Mayhem. I have yet to see this.
Yeah. I mean, they spoke on it a little bit earlier, but I thought the spin on the Turtles was fun. It was welcome. I mean, how many different ways have we told the Turtles now? It's cool that Leonardo has a crush on April in this. It's cool that while you got the big villain or whatever, it's not like the big villain that you would necessarily like say, oh, like that's the bad guy, we gotta fight him. It's like this blurred line, which is always a neat thing. And like family, like other mutants, like part of a bigger thing. And I thought that was a nice little twist they had. And then, even going further than that, like the people that, like you look different than us. I don't know if we're supposed to like you, but like they end up helping you in the end. Like it's just feel good kind of thing, and a nice spin, and great animation too. I'm really loving the way they're doing these cartoon movies now for television. It's just between Spider-Man's, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like I hope they keep that trend up because it's visually. It's a joy to watch.
Yeah, very cool. I gotta check that out. Andy, what's your number 5?
Well, I guess I do have the TMNT on my top 5. I've actually got it all the way up at number 1. It was that's my number 1.
All right.
It was perfect. Yeah, to pile it on for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. Just the reboot was perfect. It's heart and soul was in the right place where I never even saw the Michael Bay film, but it just felt wrong. Like the Turtles looked too old. They didn't seem like teenagers at all. It was just too grandiose for a Ninja Turtles movie.
Yep.
This is dialed in. It feels rugged, grimy. They're in the sewers. It's dark. It's dark, but not too dark. And the Turtles all have, their individual personalities as well as physical appearances, which I feel like in past iterations, the Turtles are just turtles with different color bandanas.
Yep.
And now they're like legitimately very unique individuals.
Yeah. Leonardo's lean and Raphael is kind of the bigger dude, but it's like a little overweight, a little husky. I love how like too like Raphael they have like their personalities and everything. They're still like, you know, Leo's trying to be the leader, Donnie's like still a smart guy, but like Raph, like he's always had that anger thing, but they don't like focus like oh he's
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, he's a jerk, but it's just like, oh, he's gonna go goblin mode kind of. It's like,
exactly,
I'm gonna do the thing like
because he's fucking 14.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be a burly goober.
That's a good way to put it.
Burly goober.
Very cool. All right, but
yes.
So that's my number one. But my number 5 was Evil Dead Rise. Felt like another sort of really well done, modernized version of the series. You know, really true to form with the over the top gore and the really unique kill scenes. Yep, that's my number 5.
I like that one as well. You know, I've kind of peaked at the beginning there with the skull being ripped apart or the being scalped. I think I talked about this when I first saw it earlier in the year, but it's just I know a lot of these remakes are basing their enjoyment off of people being like, oh, I know that line. I know where that line is coming from. I've never been a huge Evil Dead guy, but then when she's like, what does she say? What's the big line? Like she gets the chainsaw going, where'd that come from? She revs it. She's like, come get some, right? That was the big Evil Dead thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just watching to be like, okay, I even though I'm not a huge fan of it, this feels like a little out of place, a little, try to force some of these lines and force some of these like callbacks and references to the other thing in this a little bit too much. I did sort of enjoy that it, you know, obviously they're in the elevator and you got the kid in there and it's like, holy shit, you don't really see a lot of that stuff in modern movies where it's this action set piece where they obviously spent a lot of money doing it because it's obviously done practically and it looks really cool. So that's a plus. That's a thing in the plus column I would give it. Yep. But yeah, I don't know. And then it's just a weird thing that people point out, but like a lot of these movies, not just horror movies, but horror movies specifically have these apartments of people that are like supposedly struggling. And it's like the biggest apartment I've ever seen in my life. It's that Friends thing of like, how are these people affording this giant living space? Cause the woman, the mother has like a giant living room and she has a giant room to herself and her kids have giant rooms to themselves. And it's like, where is this in America these days in this economy?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
So that was a little jarring, I would say, but yeah, overall, I really liked it. Let's see, my number 4 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I know you're probably hearing this and be like, 4, come on, it's the best movie of the year, but I have some other things that. You're not seeing that? Okay, yeah. All right. Has everybody here seen this? I believe we've all seen this, right?
I actually haven't, but it's been a high priority. Okay. It's just hasn't happened.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm very excited to see the second one of this, or the second part of this. This is one of those that is obviously delayed because of the strike and all that, but also I think if you just look at what they were saying about the production of the second movie, it's pretty obvious that they had nothing even started yet with, I believe Haley Steinfeld said, like, I'm not sure what the next one's going to be about because I haven't really recorded my lines yet. So that's not a good sign in terms of the next one getting here anytime soon. But yeah, just like I said, when I talked about it earlier in the year, it was that thing I've been missing from all of these multiverse movies of like, it looks completely different. You take a major metropolitan area like New York and you combine it with another major metropolitan area like Dubai and just smush those things together. I think that's something I desperately want to see more of in the future. If anybody does any sort of timeline jumping or dimension jumping or any of that stuff, you gotta get way more creative other than pizza in different forms from the Doctor Strange movie. I just you got to really stretch the bounds when it comes to mixing and matching and taking all of these different aesthetics from different cultures. And there's so many, like you can take like a Aztecian thing, combine it with a future thing. You know, who's to say that in different dimensions, civilizations didn't progress at different times? So you might have like a dimension where nobody invented electricity, or you do a dimension where nobody is using the wheel, or you could be so much more inventive. And I think this really did push the boundaries of that stuff when you're talking about different dimensions and how they look and feel. So very much looking forward to more of that.
Nice.
Anybody else have that on the top 5?
Nope. It's a very good. It's an incredible 2/3 of a movie. But there's no ending to the movie, so I can't. It's True. In good conscience put it on my list.
Okay, Derick, tell me what. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
It is on my list actually.
Okay, where'd you put it?
It's my number 1.
Okay, getting rid of the number ones. Okay, why is it your number 1?
Yeah, it's my number 1 because, like I touched on with TMNT, like it's just the artwork for that kind of thing. That they're just doing it different, and it's awesome, and I'm here for it. And Spot was like my favorite, like villain in the original Spider-Mans, and I know that sounds weird, but like to see him like in this like Omega, like, because the thing was like he's a joke in it, you know, like they don't take him seriously, and that's part of the thing, but like he finds a way to be taken seriously. And the artwork for Spot, like when you look at him, he's just like, oh, he's this white dude with like black spots on him, like, oh, but in this format they can make him look so menacing, like, and it's just, it's like shit that you pull off, like Damian, you were doing the AI generated pictures. You know how freaky those things can get? That's what I was feeling like with Spot.
Yes.
Hello?
Agreed.
Oh shit. You got a little quiet. I lost you. But yeah. So that, and then on top of the fact that, you know, like all the scenes in it, like they portrayed the moods, you know, like shit that the characters are going through, like Gwen, when like she's invisible and her cop dad is there, and it's just like they got the water streaking down the screen like watercolor kind of backgrounds now, and then it just jumps between, like it matches the mood, and I think that's an awesome touch. And the characters, and it was funny. It's Spider-Man. It's witty. Like seeing all the Spider-Mans together doing the thing with the memes and all chasing each other, pointing at each other. Like the inside jokes are there, and even Miguel, like he's the bad guy, but again, like he's the bad guy for like a good reason. Like, and he's not trying to be like this terrible dude. He's just trying to do something that's right and trying to control it because he's lost greatly too. That's the thing with Spider-Man. It's tragic. You lose something, and it should destroy a normal person, and yet somehow Spider-Man keeps doing, they're trucking on, doing Spider-Man things and making everybody else better. Yeah. It's like it's just fun, and you know I enjoy it.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Well said.
Thank you very much.
Take a bow.
You've been great. Woo! And Derick is right, by the way. You know, like if I had to say one flaw to the movie, it didn't have an ending. Like, and that's the thing. Like you felt like it could be building to an ending, and then you know but the nice thing was that they had that little twist there at the end too, where it's just like, holy shit, like it could get your ass in the theater for the next one. And sometimes you don't get that when you get like these like, oh, well, okay, part 1's done. I know there was going to be a part 2, but like this one was just like, it gets you excited for the next one. Where the hell is this going to go? Like, not an ending, but it's enough.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about all that. Like, it was such, like I said, a perfect 2/3 of a movie. Just for me personally, I was like, you know, I was like, I feel like I can't fully judge it until I see the end of it. But, you know, and one thing I will say, to I guess play devil's advocate against myself now is that I was on a podcast and somebody brought up that it is bookended by Gwen. So you do at least get, her beginning and her end. So it does kind of, I don't agree that it's her movie, but the movie kind of like tries to play it off that way. Like, okay, at least there's a conclusion to her arc with her dad and everything. And so I feel like that's why it felt a little less cliffhanger-y than like something like a Fast X or Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 or something like that. So I will give it definitely credit for that.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Let's see where we at. Dion, that was your number 1. So what is, I think we have to go to Dion for his number 4, right?
Number 4 was The Bear, season 2.
Right. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff. I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just like the most stressful thing on television. Yeah, your eyes are glued to it. Usually when Damian recommends restaurant type things, you know you're into torture.
Yeah. Yes.
But like this was actually an enjoyable watch. Like I was stressed out, but like you couldn't take your eyes away from it. It's got my guy John Bernthal in it, Jeremy Allen. But yeah, it's just all the characters too. They're just like they're great characters. They all play off each other really well. You could tell there's like love deep down. It's just like I'm not yelling at you. This is just the volume of my voice, kind of thing. And it's just like some of the episodes was just like the Christmas special and number 2. And then you got Honeydew, which was my personal favorite. Just like they broke it down where it's just like each episode felt like, you know, a different character's journey, which was neat. And then at the end, it all came together and, you know, let's see how it all operates. All of us got the experience we need. Let's bring it together. And, you know, does it work? Did it work? Did it not work? I don't know.
Well,
that's for you to
far,
find out.
Seems fine. Andy, what is your number 4?
Oh, my number 4 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Nice.
All right.
That was my number 3.
That was your number 3? Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out here. So next up, we got did all number 4s, right?
Nope.
So back to me.
No, we did not.
No.
You forgot me as always.
Really? I thought I went to you in second.
Nope.
Okay.
I've only talked about one movie. I've talked about one movie so far.
He chimed in with the Spider-Man, so that's
oh, that's right. That's right. I thought that was okay. What's your number 4, Derick?
My number 4 is Extraction 2. More Extraction. No, but I
extract harder.
Exactly. Actually, you know, this is a movie that I talked about, you know, before, but I think it's a massive improvement from the first one. Damon, you talked about earlier the kind of digital trickery, doing that long one shot with all the drones in Dungeons & Dragons. This has a insane 23-minute long sequence where they're doing it's like a one shot, and there is some trickery, but holy shit, it looks amazing. It's in the same mold as the John Wick movies, where it's just, let's get these guys who have been stuntmen and action coordinators for years and just let them do whatever the fuck they want. And it's not Shakespeare, but god damn it, it's a great, entertaining movie that I think it's one of the best action films I've seen in the past decade.
All right, yeah, I still got to check it out. I don't think anybody else has seen it here, right?
No, I haven't. Yeah. I like that line though. It's not Shakespeare, but god damn it, it's awesome.
All right, back to me. Up to our number 3 already. My number 3 is Barbie. Saw this with it's the Barbieheimer. It's the biggest movie, one of the biggest movies of the year. I think it's made, 1.3 billion already, which is fucking wild. Insane. It is wild, man. Nobody saw this coming at all. Like, yeah. It's just, I definitely lived up to expectations. Yeah, I think it surpassed them. I think we saw all of these viral marketing stuff of like Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie on rollerblades, going down Venice Beach or whatever. And it's like, what is this gonna be? Is this gonna be, it's just like
lived up to expectations, but like what possibly could have been your expectation?
Yeah. So I guess in a way that it wasn't that impressive since my expectations were pretty low, but even still, just the writing about, what is Barbie in 2023? What is she for? Who is she for? It's very much about finding a place in the world for her and for the characters themselves. I think it's very much about like, we've seen movies about this before where it's like trying to find your family, found friendship, found, finding your tribe of people, and it's sort of about that, and also pushing back against misogyny, and this Ryan Gosling discovers misogyny, discovers the patriarchy, and he brings it back to Barbie land. And so I think it does a very good job of like displaying the ridiculousness of misogyny and the patriarchy in the same way that a lot of media, a lot of movies and TV shows will sort of try to take down or poke fun at like tyrannical governments and authoritarian governments, making fun of their sort of ideology is a very good way of sort of putting cracks in that sort of stuff. So I think that I'm not sure if she was going for that, but that's sort of what I took away from it of just showing how absurd it is, the world we're living in, of just, what the thing that, brands will push on people and be like, this is what it means to be a man. This is what masculinity is. So it does a very good job of sort of breaking all that stuff down. So yeah, I think, I don't know, Derick, have you seen this yet?
Yeah.
This is the one
we talked about it on the show.
Because when we first saw, I think I saw Oppenheimer, and then I saw both Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it at first, but
you hadn't seen it at first. Then did we do a show after that?
We did a show where we talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Is this in your top 5?
It's not in my top 5. But it is a movie that I quite enjoyed. I think it was very good. All the stuff you mentioned about the patriarchy and stuff like that. I think it falls short a little bit because at the end it's not like Women Talking, where Women Talking is a movie that's like about the patriarchy and all that, and how it hurts both men and women both perpetuate it and all this stuff. And Women Talking feels like a movie that's like, okay, we have to like radically blow this up. In this movie, it's like, well, one woman's life got better, but nothing has changed. And I get it; it's a Barbie movie, but it felt a little like it was bringing up a lot of these things and then not really addressing any solutions to them. But that being said, still a great, fun, awesome movie.
Yeah. So what is your number 3?
Going back to me already. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
My number 3 is Past Lives. This movie I talked about on the show before. It's 100% my jam, in my wheelhouse, of these two people who have this kind of almost sort of great love story that never kind of works out, and you're like watching and you're like, are they going to end up together? Do I want them to end up together? But then there's also her husband, and he's a fully realized, interesting character, and he understands his part and all that. It's just, it's so beautiful and emotional, and it touches on that love story, but it also touches on how different cultures affect you, and how moving from one culture to another changes a person and literally changes their identity. She literally changes her name. It's basically a new person, and how she's different than at these 3 different stages in her life. Just a heartbreakingly beautiful film.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think you mentioned briefly the very realistic characters. I think they talk about this a lot. Even in the movie, they make reference to, if this was a movie, I'd be that weird American trying to steal you away from your
exactly
from your guy. Like you said, it's just the guy is so fully formed. He's not super awkward. He's not super. He's not this like stammering weird guy that just wants to be with her, and but he's also not he's not an aggressive guy. I think he is super realistic in that he recognizes that either he missed his mark or they both missed the mark. They had a chance to be together, but that period went away for nobody's fault, really. It's a very realistic in that sense, where nobody did anything to push either one away. They recognized that neither one of them pursued something because there wasn't really anything there to pursue. I think they did a really good job of saying like, this is the opposite. I talked about this when we talked about it first, but this is the opposite of Eternal Sunshine, where they try to force this relationship over and over again. And this is sort of the other side of that, of them recognizing that, maybe at some point this could have been a thing that could have worked, but that time when it is gone now. We're past that. And so it's, very good on all of those fronts. Andy, you saw this, right?
I did. Yeah. I appreciate it as a film, very artistic and technically good, but I did not really. Is not in my wheelhouse at all. Yeah. It was just drama on drama, like anything to make me laugh at any given point would have been, a huge plus. It was a long slog for me. I appreciate it. I mean, it was well done, but not my jam.
Okay, great. Let's go to you for your number 3. Unless you said it was number 3, Guardians.
My number 3 was Guardians.
Your number 3 was Guardians. Okay. Andy, have you said your number 3 yet?
I have not. Well, we talked about it earlier, but my number 3 was Beef.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You did quite a bit then.
I did. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Nice. So we get to Deanna's number 3, my number 3, and Derek's number 3. So let's go to number 2's. My number 2 movie of the year. Well, I'm just doing movies. I'll talk about TV shows after we're done. Number 2 is Oppenheimer. Obviously, the other half of the Barbieheimer experience. Like I said, some of the best performances I've seen all year. Some of the best performances I've seen ever of a lot of the people that were in this movie. Cillian Murphy, probably one of his best performances, if not his best performance. Robert Downey Jr.'s best performance was in this movie. Florence Pugh's probably best performance was in this movie. Really, really, really great performances out of everybody in this movie. It's really, really well done. I think we talked about this being Christopher Nolan's best movie in my eyes. I think he's been accused of not being an emotional director. He's not capable of portraying emotion on film. He's very much been accused of being like this, just a very cold, distant director and a sort of distant screenwriter when it comes to human emotions. So I think this is his exercise in saying, actually, no, I can do human emotion. So yeah. Very, very good movie in those terms. Has anybody? I know Derek's seen this. Andy, Deanne, have you seen this?
Which one is that?
Oppenheimer.
No, haven't gotten to that one yet.
Okay. just FYI, if there is Oscars next year, this will probably be up there in terms of best movie, best actor, best screenplay. Probably cinematography too, right? Hoyt van Hoytema shot the shit out of this. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So if there is an Oscars, definitely movie of the year. Definitely one of those. Yeah. Right? Supporting actor probably is going to go to Matt Damon, or no, not Matt Damon. I mean, he'll be nominated, but
maybe RDJ.
They were like,
RDJ.
Yeah. RDJ, yeah, but I'm thinking of somebody else from a different movie that's like, oh yeah, of course, yes, that he's going to get in there. He's probably going to get it. Hartnett? No, he didn't have a big enough part in this. No, it's from a different movie I'm thinking of, but I'll think of it later. All right, that's my number 2. Go to Derick, number 2.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say this for number 1, but because I said this is kind of a loose list. This is not going to be my probable actual ranking at the end. But, let's say that this is number 2. It'll fit in nicely there. I'm going to stick with you and keep the conversation going on Oppenheimer, because I also really, really enjoyed this. I'm a very big Christopher Nolan fan. I think he is, more known as a genre guy, but he is also kind of a history nerd too. Obviously we saw Dunkirk. And this, like everything you said, it was all great about the movie. And this movie, I think people are fundamentally, not a lot of people, but a couple people are fundamentally misreading and being like, he's a bad guy. Why is it saying making the atomic bomb was a bad thing? And I'm like, that is the point. This is the guy who is deeply conflicted about him doing something that might have been the worst thing to happen in human history. And it might lead us down a road where we literally destroy ourselves and the entire world. And him, like, the quote unquote, no pun intended, fallout of that was really good. This movie is just stacked with incredible character actors, mostly men. There's not a lot of women in this. No, not exactly Nolan's. Not one of his strengths is seen as writing women, or writing people that have very good dialogue. I think his best writing comes across as cold exposition. And this movie has a lot of that, and it actually works really well in the movie because it's a bunch of science nerds talking about building bombs and shit like that. So that cold exposition is super engaging and interesting. So I absolutely love this film.
Yes, me as well. I'm glad. A lot of guys in rooms talking.
Yes.
That's my jam as well. Yep. So my number 2, Deanna, what is your number 2?
When you said science nerds, I immediately thought of Mac and Always Sunny, and it's just, take that, science bitch. My number 2,
yes.
where am I 2? Yeah, so Succession. If you want to hear what I think about Succession, go listen to the other 8 podcasts I did this year.
Yes, we did not like a watch along, but pretty much every week we sat down and talked about that week's episode. We did an episodic play by play of that show. I would agree. If we're making like a mixed list, a hybrid list, this would probably be very much up there. I think it's one of the few shows that actually, nailed the landing. Not only nailed the landing, but I don't think there's like a weak point, really significantly weak point in the entire series. There's nothing in there like, oh yeah, season 2, there's that whole storyline that didn't go anywhere. Nope. There's no fact on that show. There was no point at which they were like, don't give a shit about that guy's backstory. Don't give a shit about this storyline. That was a lean, mean show. That was, I don't think they wrote the entire thing out before they made it. I know there was a lot of like rewriting by the end. I know that like from minute to minute, there's a lot of adaptive dialogue in there where they were just taking things that who played Roman, that actor would Kieran Culkin would just say stuff and they keep it in. So minute by minute, line by line, there was a lot of adaptive stuff in there, but I think they did a really job of just fucking telling a story from beginning to end, and one of the best, just consistently incredible shows throughout all of the seasons, especially by the end.
I mean, I think the only knock people could really have is like maybe characters they regress too much. Like all the progress they make is like wiped out by the end of a season, and it just feels like easy story writing. But by the end of it, it's just like it's not like you're making these characters look weak because you need it to extend a season or something like that. That's their nature. That's who they are. Like everything had a purpose in the show, and like I said, it was neat. It was lean. It's just like there was no wasted energy.
No,
anyway.
not at all. Let's see. Going to Andy. What is your number 2 thing of the year so far?
My number 2 was Ted Lasso final season.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I had to leave it off too. Like, I feel the sure, I love Ted Lasso, but man, that last one, like, I was, I'm not here to take away from it. It's your thing.
No wrong answers.
Sorry, elevate no you, wrong answers. No wrong answers.
You do you. Okay, sounds good.
I mean, this is really a list of things I've seen this year.
Yeah. It turns out that it's like just 5.
This is my top 5.
You know what? I liked it. I liked Ted Lasso season 3. I'm sticking up for you.
This guy.
Thank you.
I like it. This is America. You can like things.
This is America.
Okay. This is America. I thought this was a free country and we could like Ted Lasso.
I thought you could drink more than 15 drinks in a day during the day.
Well, I wasn't in America then, so
yeah, true.
I was on a boat. I was in international waters, so they couldn't persecute.
I know that Andy had. You said your number 1 was Spider-Verse.
TMNT.
That was mine.
TMNT. That's okay. Okay. Dion, did you say number 1 was Guardians or no? Is that something else?
No, his number 1 was Spider-Verse. His number 1 was TMNT.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have to do my number 1 and Derick's number 1?
Yes.
And all of our number 1s are Twisted Metal and Sweet Tooth.
Not Twisted Metal and Sweet Tooth because they're the same thing, dude.
Derick, what is your favorite thing from 2023 so far?
My number 1 thing from 2023 so far is that I have a sweet tooth. No, I'm just kidding. My number 1 thing is one that I just saw, not this week, but since we've last in the podcast. That's Talk to Me, the kind of low budget horror movie that is really, like a lot of horror films, it deals with trauma. It's what I think a lot of people would call elevated horror. It's made by the Philippou brothers, and it's, who had kind of made the name for themselves on YouTube, making a bunch of really spooky lo-fi things, and giving them a couple $1 million was just so cool. This is a movie that I was not interested on when I heard about its premise. It sounded dumb as hell, but it manages to really just be unsettling in a way that I really enjoyed. Rather than jump scares, it's just constant anxiety. I love it when there's a character in a horror movie who is relatable but also sucks. Like, you're like, wow, I understand this person because I also maybe have some not great tendencies in this way, but fuck them, maybe they deserve to die, you know? Like, I absolutely loved it. Really creative stuff done with the actual way they interact with the ghosts and all the other side things, and you're never really scared of the ghosts. You're scared of what the ghosts will make you do to yourself or do to someone else. So brilliant, cool little horror flick.
Nice, yeah, I got to check that out. It's set to release on October 3rd on Blu-ray, so it'll probably be there and on VOD, so I'll check it out then. Very nice. So that's your number one. My number one movie of the year is Past Lives. Nice. To no one's surprise, it's my avatar on Letterboxd. It's all of the stuff. Yeah, it's just one of the best acted things I've seen this year. One of the best written things I've seen this year. Really incredible first outing for the writer and director of that movie. Yeah, like I said, there's just so much stuff that I come across that just falls into a trope thing. I watched what was the last thing I watched? I was like, oh, this is just that genre, and they're doing all the genre tropes, and I just have Joyride. Okay, I watched Joyride. Didn't enjoy that much at all, because I think they just went down the checklist of like this gross out comedy from 2023 has to have these things.
It felt like a 2023 movie that got made in 2000. Like it felt very 2023 vibes, but like it felt like a script from 2007 that got updated. You know?
Yeah, I don't mean to throw shade I don't mean to throw shade on that random movie for no reason, but I was just using it as a comparison point to be like, this is special. This is a special movie because it doesn't. It goes against all of those genre conventions of like the guy is pursuing the woman, the guy is obsessed with the woman, the guy will not let it go, the guy can't see his flaws. I think they're such, you said well-rounded, but they're also very human, very people that are self-aware, and I think self-awareness is something that a lot of people have, but you don't really see it on screen very much. So it was nice to see that there, and yeah, just like the last moments of that movie are just incredible. I think a lot of that movie, I think maybe one of the reasons Andy bounced off it was just that the camera sat there for a long time and let the characters do what they're doing. There was a part, I think, near the middle where they both just met up in New York, and they're sort of walking around one of the harbors, and the camera's following them from very far away, and you're just watching them walk up to the camera. They go behind trees at one point, and then the last scene is just unbreaking, not a lot of cuts in there, just watching her sort of hold it together and slowly break down as she's walking down that street. And I think just there's a lot of that stuff I'm attracted to, of just like letting the camera sit there, letting the actor do their thing. Very much appreciate that when you see it, because I think it's one of those things that you really don't notice when you first see it, but then you go back and watch something else that's doing a lot of cutting and doing a lot of editing and not really letting the sort of actor act, and I very much appreciate that kind of stuff in there. So, yep, Past Lives number one for me.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was our top 5 of everything we've seen this year. I can either go down the list of honorable mentions, or we can sort of wrap it up to you guys.
Let's save those for the end of the year. How about like we'll
okay?
Yeah, I think maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. No.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Save it. Okay, I'll save it. Sounds good. Yes. So there's that. So let's do some letterbox assignments for you guys. I'll do them for myself, and I'll pick some stuff for you all as well. We do a thing here where we're going through our watch list on Letterboxd, and we go through and put everything we've seen, or not everything, but everything on the list will go to our services, so that when something pops up, it's not on something that's like not available. So. Where's that thing where you go to available to buy, rent? They updated this, so now it's not just on your servers. It's like,
I don't like that.
Yeah, did you notice this?
I'm just pulled up right now and I'm seeing it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Films not on any service. Filters include films I own. Exclude matching films. Why would I want to exclude matching films?
So you don't? You put the same list on movie on here twice, or I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm going to go with Sound of Music. The first one that popped out was All About Lily Chow, but I'm going to go with The Sound of Music because I've never seen it, and it's definitely one of those I got to see. So I'll go with that. Sound of Music, 1965. Do you guys want an assignment as well? I'll reshuffle. Give you guys an assignment as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to hit shuffle. Oh boy. Let's go with Ouija, Origin of Evil. I believe this just got added to Netflix, so it'll be very easy, guys. Easy for you guys to check out. This is directed by Mike Flanagan. He does all of the Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Dr. Sleep, some stuff you guys have enjoyed in the past, Midnight Mass. So hopefully you guys
let's watch it together, Andy.
Get a kick out of that.
All right. Oh, what was the subtitle? Ouija, what now?
Ouija.
Origin of Evil.
Origin of Evil.
Origin of Evil.
Noted.
Okay. Derick, give it a spin. Let me know what you get.
All right, and I got any favorited service is what I did to get it to come up.
Yep.
And shuffle. Fuck, man. Okay, this is one you liked a lot. I think one of you guys, two of you guys, maybe it was in your list, Andy. Apollo 10.5.
Yeah, yes. I like that movie.
All right.
Dion liked it.
That was a Dion
movie. Okay, that was a Dion pick. So I put it on the list because of your recommendation, Dion. So you know what? All right, here we go. I'm not a big Linklater guy, but maybe you know what? I hope to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Exactly.
It's feel good, buddy. I think you'll be all right. Unless you don't like feeling good, then I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so that about does it. Let me do some plugs here. Medium blog, I just did a blog about elevated horror. Derick mentioned Talk to Me being elevated horror. And I just did a little blog talking about how I think that it's undeserved, derogative, sort of, what do you call that? It's been branded. I think it's undeserved branding that, like, you hear that phrase of like, oh, it's elevated horror. Don't like that. just call it something else. But I wrote a little thing about that on Damian.Sherman.medium.com. Go to my letterbox. I'm 11 away from 100 followers. So go to VB_4 Benedetta on the letterbox. Go to my film essayist on YouTube, Spotify for podcasters to make a podcast very easily, and go back and check out all my interviews. And also Dion and I did most episodes of Succession, and also talked about at length the newest season of The Bear. So check out all that behind the show here. Derick, what do you got to plug?
Yeah, so my other podcast, Underrated, or just look up Underrated Movie Podcast on any of the apps. It always comes out on the same day as this show. And some changes coming out of the show. There's been some chair shuffling when it comes to the hosts. I'm still the host, but I've been having a few guest hosts, starting with the esteemed host of this show, one Mr. Damian P. Sherman. Is that? Yes. I don't know if that's your middle initial or not. I think it is. I feel like Jay. Okay. So we talked about Big Fish, as you alluded to earlier. Had a lot of fun talking about that. So if you want to hear us, if you have not heard enough of us after these last 2.5 hours or whatever, and you want to hear us talk about father issues and things like that, and Tim Burton's The Last Good Movie, go listen to Big Fish, Underrated Movie Podcast. Check it out on any of the apps. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/underrated movie podcast. Email us at underratedmoviepodcast@gmail.com. That's all the new branding now. There's a new follow us on Instagram. Just look up Underrated Movie Podcast anywhere. We're doing a whole rebrand. It's fun. It's great.
Very cool. All right. So Can I Say Something? I have been your Summer Movie Wager champion for 2023, Damian.
He's calling it.
And I am the soon-to-be dethroned defending champion 2022, Derick.
I'm Deej.
I'm Andy.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.